obvious I didn't know anything about sports. He extended an invitation to my first high school party when everyone else acted like I was invisible and carrying some infectious disease. He was nice to everybody, but the fact he took time to be nice to me when no one else had ever made an effort before meant I was a goner from the first time he smiled at me. I could never get over the fact he seemed to genuinely like having me around. He was witty, unfailingly polite, and full of good old Southern charm. He seemed utterly untouchable, unstoppable. He never had a problem getting whatever it was he wanted, be it a football championship, a nearly perfect score on his SATs, or the prettiest girl in the entire county. His constant good fortune and the ease with which he had the entire small town of Loveless, Texas, eating out of the palm of his hand should have been annoying. It should have built up loads of bitterness in the rest of us who didn't have the same kind of unwavering charm. No one ever disliked Case Lawton, or let their jealousy of him turn them bitter. Because it was no secret that, as perfect as Case's life looked on the outside, on the inside, it was far from flawless. Case's father was the sheriff of Loveless. He was also a big bully who used his position and his badge to abuse the locals. He had a very loose definition of law and order. Rumors had floated around for years that Sheriff Lawton was a bigger criminal than half the people he put away. No one could miss how desperately Case tried to make up for all of his father's glaring shortcomings. It was almost as if he was trying to save the entire Lawton name from disgrace. Everyone, including me, knew Case wanted to leave Loveless right after graduation. We were rooting for him. He had a football scholarship locked down for a Big Ten school up north, and he didn't hide he was ready to leave Texas, and his father's tainted legacy far behind. Of course, I selfishly didn't want him to go, but secretly hoped he made it out, because he deserved better than being known as Sheriff Lawton's son. It was right before graduation when the precarious house of cards he had built came tumbling down around him. Case fell from grace in the way only idols and gods can. His mother passed away suddenly. He broke his leg in 2 places during the last game of the season. His father lost all the restraint he pretended to have, and all the Lawton siblings started showing up to school with obvious bruises all over them. And last, but not least, the prettiest girl in the county, the one who nagged him constantly and begged him not to leave after graduation, conveniently ended up pregnant. There would be no escape, no bigger and better things for Case Lawton. No avoiding the long, dark shadow his father cast in this town. He joined the military days after graduation, and minutes after putting a ring on the finger of the girl who'd effectively trapped him. He served his 4 years and returned to Loveless, harder, colder, and so much angrier than before. He was no longer nice, easygoing, charming, and thoughtful. He came back to a very young wife who was practically a stranger, and to a son who hardly recognized him. The rushed marriage was not one anyone would call happy. Instead of being the town's favored son and biggest success story, he was no different from any of the other young men who couldn't find their way out of the city limits. Soon, Case gave up all pretense of ever wanting more for his life and went to work as a deputy for his father in the sheriff's department. And the townspeople who had always rooted for him suddenly saw him as a failure. Their collective "told you so" could be heard as far away as the moon. I didn't have a logical reason, beyond Case being my first real crush, as to why his giving up on his dreams affected me so deeply. All I knew was that it did. I'd harbored a passionate infatuation for Case from the first moment I saw him. My family moved to Loveless from Chicago my freshman year of high school. To say I was a fish out of water in the small Texas town was an understatement. I stood out like a sore thumb, had trouble making friends and fitting in. I mostly kept to myself, watching the new people and the world around me. Case made himself impossible to miss by being friendly and kind, so he immediately became the center of all my focus. It didn't matter that he treated everyone as if they were